Hello, welcome to Walpole United WFC.
Hello, welcome. It's Friday Night's Fans Forum. I'm OT as my church, MUFC. No, I'm not really, but I felt like I had to throw that one in there. Traditional John introduction. Welcome. It's Friday. We've got that Friday feeling in the chat, I'm sure. We've got that Friday feeling here. And quite frankly, I'm really looking forward to this one, perhaps more so than any Friday show that I have hosted before, of which we've only got two to compare with. So it is a but still, I feel like it's got the potential to be amazing. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys in the chat come up with as well. But before we do that, let's do what we normally do and just have a quick run around and see how everybody's getting on. Andrew, how are you, my friend?
So all good. Glad it's the weekend now after a long week at work.
Absolutely. Those weeks at work, they're a nightmare. It would be so much more fun if we didn't have to do it. But there we are. John, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Like Andrew, been a long week of work, so I'm looking forward to the show. I'm doing 2 shows tonight, so I'm looking forward to it.
Nice. Fully immersing himself in the AFU experience over there. And Ellie, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm brilliant. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I love my Friday show.
Brilliant. Our pleasure. We always love having the fans on, so it's all good stuff. Well, we have got an absolute truckload of things to get through today. An absolute truckload, but we're going to be kicking it off with what was on the thumbnail. We're going to be talking about investment. We're going to be talking about desire. We're going to talk about what we need to improve. We're going to be talking about what we've already got and whether or not that actually does add an important dimension to what we're doing. We'll be thinking about what we might be getting. And then we're going to potentially, if we've got enough time, stop all of that and try and have some form of European fun, of which yet we have not yet fully decided. So I would stick around for that to see just how good my ad-libbing skills really are when it comes to Euro fun. So if that's not a reason to stay to the end, I don't know what is. But before then, we've got to talk about it. Last night, it was all kicking off, wasn't it? It was brilliant. We had a fantastic conversation. We had Rodney, we had Reese. John was there, the little referee, and it was all going great. And the three of us were having a lovely conversation. But what was great was that we had people in the comments. And the thing that makes this show, and indeed every other show that we do, good, is quite simply the fact that it's all about your opinions. So it's really, really good that you guys get involved. So let's think about last night. What happened? Well, quite simple, really. We were sat discussing everything that's been going on with Manchester United women. And what did we then end up talking about? Investment and desire. We spoke a lot about investment. We spoke about how important it is, and we agreed it is definitely an important thing. But I felt myself that the being 4 years old, and I'm going to throw it straight on to kick off from where Marty left it, was that being 4 years old shouldn't be a penalty. And I agree, it shouldn't be a penalty. 100% it should not be a penalty. But I'm not saying it is. My opinion was that it's not a penalty. What I'm telling you, what I believe, is that those 4 years just means that we're very young. We're at a different stage of the process than we potentially think we are. In other words, what I'm saying is we're ahead of the curve. Most people and most clubs, I believe, that have just started or just been created, I don't think for 1 second get to the level that we've got to in such infancy of being created. We started at the second tier. So I just felt that there was a little bit there of sitting here and thinking, do you know what? Let's just take a moment, take a breath. And it's not about not having that aspiration, because we all aspire to win. I think everyone sat here wants us to get to the Champions League. I think everyone here wants to see us win the league, win a Conti Cup. We're all about that. That's literally what Manchester United Football Club is all about. But what we was really getting onto last night was the type of player. And we were talking about Leon from West Ham. And as we had that discussion, we were asking whether or not she was the right sort of player. And the first conversation was, is she there to replace Russo? And we said, no, I don't believe for 1 second she is, because they're different positions. So instead we started thinking, well, who then is Leon to replace? Now, is it to replace someone like Fuso? And then there was the discussion, well, we're getting rid of talent and potential. And again, we might be. But I just feel like there is a lot of critique maybe on the club when sometimes it's not things that are necessarily in the club's gift to be able to control. Yes, they can offer the contract. Yes, they can try and have that dialogue with the players. But what I didn't feel that they had the opportunity to have was the ability to make the other person do what it is that you're asking them to do. So with that in mind, I wanted to kick off the question. It came from Connor, and I put it up right at the very end. Investment. Basically what he said was, if you pay the money, the people will come. And that got me to thinking. It got me to thinking. And in fact, we had a little conversation afterwards, and I said to him, you're quite right. When you throw money at people, they absolutely do come. You get fantastic players like Paul Pogba, like Angel Di Maria, Anthony Martial, Alexis Sanchez. And what I'm throwing at you here are people who we all thought, oh, we spent a lot of money on them, but where's their desire? So sometimes I wonder if maybe a Leon, who's a Man United fan, who's going to go out there, who's going to fight for the shirt, who's going to fight because they want to achieve the same things that we want to achieve because we're fans, they're just technically superior than us. So does that mean desire like that? That's why you fell in love with the club, isn't it? Because we looked at the desire of these players and we went, wow, this is fantastic. It's good to see people playing for the shirt. So that is the investment v desire situation. That's the one I want to discuss. So the question to you guys in panel, and that is the only monologue that I'm going on today, but I needed to set the scene so that you guys know where we're going with this. I'll throw it over to you guys. And I'm going to kick off with you, Eddie, because it was your first season here and you were captured this season. It's become everything that you wanted and more. Tell me why, and then tell me what it is you think is going to help us to progress going forward. Is it the investment or is it the desire?
Well, since the very first game I watched, I think it was against City actually. It was I think one of the night games, and I think they just caught my eye, the way they played, the way the partnership was between them all. Like, you can really tell they're a really close group together, a really close group of girls. That the friendship's good as well, not just on the field, it's off it as well. But even when they're on the field, you can tell they know that work's got to be done. But they're all together in that. And I think as well, it's just the way they always see a game as like a final sometimes, or every game, because they want to improve and want to progress to the next level. Even ever since then, even when they've lost or drew, they've always committed and keep saying we'll try again next time. It's only what this game, and then they say we'll try again next week. It's the mentality I love by them all, and the desire they want to go on and on. They don't just sit there and say, oh no, we played crap to them, I can't do this no more, play crap. Even when they play crap, they always come over to us fans and always appreciate us. That's what does it for me, because in the men's game, you don't see them all doing that, all coming over and giving us a clap or signing autographs. You don't see all that all the time in the men's game. And with us, they always come over, even when they lose, and that's something that caught my eye straight away about him. Because even sometimes when they feel guilty they've lost, they're still always here, come over to us. So it's the support by them all that I love the most. And then I think I love to see the desire and desire, because I want someone to come into the club that actually has a passion for the club and wants to work hard for the badge. Not someone who just not a club you think because we're throwing money at them, so then they'll definitely come to us then. It's not about that for me, it's about the pride and what the pride for the badge. Because we don't want someone to come and say, oh, like, play rubbish because, I don't know, say if there was, I don't know, City fan deep down or something. We don't want to come and just play rubbish for us. We want someone who has the pride and honour for the badge.
Absolutely. I do think there is a lot to be said for people wanting both. I mean, Lanzel's put here, I agree with both points. We need players to have desire, but we have to be shopping in the quality to make the top three. And absolutely, this was something that came out of yesterday's show. We do want
we really do now, because have you seen all the City players coming and the Chelsea players? This is what I mean. We need to invest now. It's been so quiet for us. And this is what's frustrated me the most. about it all.
I would agree. But again, the conversation that we were saying yesterday is that the players that are world class and that do want to play Champions League, if they've got an option to go to us and they've got an option to go to Chelsea, which one are they going to pick? Which one would you pick?
Obviously.
Which one? You know,
Obviously.
but what can sway it is if you're a United supporter, because all of a sudden you're playing for the team of your dreams, as somebody that we're going to talk about later did. So I think 100%. There's lots to be said there. Let's get the boys in and see what they think. Charlie, we haven't missed your little question there. We will have a little look at that in just a moment. What do you think, John? Is it investment? Is it desire? And what do you think about this? Is there a possibility that we are investing, that we are talking behind the scenes? It's just that nobody knows about it because we're doing such a great job of keeping it quiet.
Yeah, not quite possibly. I think the investment is desire. It's not a case of one or the other. I don't think you can have both. Investment doesn't solely mean just bringing in players. It's also work on the facilities. Ensure you have the best possible conditions for the squad to train in, to do their exercises in the gym and all that, and making them feel part of something. The one thing that we do need to get better at to challenge your Chelsea, your City, even your Arsenal, what do they have which we don't have? These clubs are well run from above, and I think that's something we got to get right. I personally think a lot of the focus on at the moment, because we haven't got a director of the women's team. Let's talk about, but we don't know when they'll be appointed. And you've also, but I think you've got to factor in that, the main person who's been doing all this is Murtel. He's done a lot of work around the academy, the women's team, but he's also taken charge of the men's team. And unfortunately, at this moment, I do think that most of the focus is on building the men's team over on the women's team at this moment. But in terms of like players you want to bring in, of course, you got to bring in players that will help you challenge the likes of your Cities and your Chelseas. I think the big concern we have is not necessarily who we bring in, but can we retain our top players? That's one big thing. We're so uncertain regarding contracts of your Russos, Zellens, other players. You need to get those nailed down. Those should be relatively easy to do. If you're struggling to keep them, then there are big alarm bells behind the scenes, in my opinion. So you've got to try and show that you are going to be ambitious, and it's a sign that if you want these players to stay, and we do have a good solid base. We are established as the fourth best team in the country, but established that over the last couple of seasons. It's just how can we push on? And I remember listening to the final game against Chelsea, and we are making progress slowly, but we are making progress. And I just think it's about keeping your assets. Your Tunis, your Zellens, your Russos, your Earps, maybe you can. I think she's probably the only one way you'd accept her going, because she's Spanish at Barcelona. It's going to be hard for her to say no. But you've got to try and make sure that you build on solid foundations that you have, and then you can just then develop a team to challenge City and Chelsea further. Because eventually, if you do invest, you keep investing, we will get in the top three. We will challenge for trophies. We'll get there. It'll take time, but I do think that you got to show investment, and you need to make sure that you're progressing every year.
Absolutely. So, listen, the guys are getting into the chat really much at the moment. Really much. That was good English. A lot at the moment. And it's really, really good to read. I always read this one wrong. Yes, the lack of resignings. I think that might be something for the government. I'm not entirely convinced that's one of those here. It's re-signings, but of course I never read that correctly because I'm a moron. But what I have seen is some things here that I want you to talk about, Andrew. Oh no, it wasn't that one. I've gone a bit too early. It was this one. There we go. So Charlie's put, we need players to play with desire, but also be of a quality to help us move forward. I'd play with desire if given the opportunity. Defo wouldn't be good enough. I don't believe that for 1 second. And then TJ's popped in with, I believe that our entire team already plays with desire, to be fair. And 100%, this is not questioning the players that we've already got. My point is that you want to maintain that. That's the thing that makes the dressing room what it is. The fact that they all play with desire, they're all playing for the badge, they're all playing for the fans, they all love what they're doing. So what is it for you, Andrew? Investment, desire, both? Which one tips the scale?
It's half and half. It's a bit of both. I can't question the desire of the team. I mean, like my first game last season just gone, I was like, that was the one thing I was impressed by the desire, the effort they was putting in, and the commitment as well. So I think in terms, let's say Skinner came in quite, when he was announced, it was quite late into the, before this, it was just about the season was just about to start, and the transfers have virtually been done. So he sort of didn't have that much influence. So he had to just work with the squad he'd been given, and obviously he had made those signings in January as well. But it wasn't quite the squad he's going to shape over the summer. So I think the investment is important, but it's spending that investment wisely, which you were saying at the start with our men's side, like over the last 10 years since Fergie left, we've spent like £1 billion on players, and it's like some of them they've been good, and some of them, well, the money we spent wasn't worth it, and they've been moved on. So yeah, we've got to get this right. Okay, Chelsea and Man City are announcing players in the last week or so, but I believe there's plenty of things going on behind the scenes. We might not be hearing much, but I remember like back when Fergie was in charge, like on the men's side, like we wouldn't know a player was coming until he was actually sat there in front of in the press conference going, "Here's our new signing," and he's here, or they're here already. So obviously, I think somebody made a comment about the players we do have, the extensions of the contract. That's one thing we wanted to know more about as well, which players are going to stay with us. So I think we've got the base there and we've got the quality. I think we just need to bring in the players now. They're just going to add that little bit extra to us, and then we can, push into that top three and possibly then go on to and then challenge for the title. And I think the word you used at the start, Barry, was the infancy as well. We're only 4 years, 4 years old in terms of the women's side. So it's like we're still in the early stages, and obviously we had the start with Casey, and then there was the plan there, and then obviously she decided to leave, and then Skinner's come in, and like he's got his own ideas and how he wants to move the club forward as well. So yeah, I just think it's a bit of both with the investment and desire. I want players to come in like, or give everything on that pitch, like even with like the men's side as well. I'm just like, I want to see whether we win, lose, or draw. As long as that effort's being given, I can't complain much about the game as long as that effort's being given there. So it's on a scale, it's a bit 50-50. So we want it to be definitely desire, but with an investment, it has to be the right investment for the team as well.
Excellent. So there's loads going on at the moment. And a lot of people are really talking about this. It's just this ability to not have the communication, really, I think is something that the fans are, and rightly so. You see all these other clubs doing their business, even just things like the contract renewals. If Bache has indeed had her extension triggered, we need to be saying that. Why are we not saying that? Because that lets Barcelona know immediately, and not that they don't already, which I'm sure they're talking, but they already know that at that point. You've got to pay the money if you want to take our player, because we know she's going to be, and we'll be sat there going, well, at least we know as well now, she's not just going to be able to walk away. You need that information. And I think that is 100% something that I would entirely...
But you say...
Oh, hello, go for it.
As well, we know about Sina Brunn as well. The club's not said anything about her, but we already know it. That's what I'm saying. That's why the club was slow, I think.
But equally, let me throw at you, we also didn't know about Sina Brunn until the day of the transfer. It wasn't leaked, it wasn't mentioned, nobody knew anything about it. That either means that we made that decision on the day, unlikely, or they knew about it and things were going on behind the scenes, and they've managed to keep a tight lid on it. And so I do wonder if there is an element of just being able to keep a tight lid on what's going on. So just before we move into your opinions on the communication, I want two things from you. All right. I'd like you to tell me a little bit about your thoughts on the communication. But just before that, I have a deal breaker question for you on the investment versus desire. And I want to hear in your comments as well, gang, what you think. Okay. So I'm going to give you Putellas, Kerr, Miedemar, and Williamson. World-class players. But they've got no desire. They're not really interested about Man United. They've only become because they want a little bit of wedge. Or do you take a Martha Thomas, a Leah Galton, a Thor, playing at their top level, a Diane Caldwell, a Hanson, a Bo Risa, fighting for the badge and giving everything they've got? Which one you're picking? The first one, where you've got the big name, but there's no desire, so really they're not too fast because they're picking up loads of money? Or are you picking the one who's going to give us all the desire? What are you going for? I'm going to start with Ellie. And I'm also going to try and get some light in here because I look like a Dementor.
Well, of course, number two, because maybe they're not the bigger names, but it's the desire that they've got for the club. It's the fight that they want to show for the badge as well. So I definitely go for number two because I don't care if they're not big names. It's about what they bring to the club, the passion, for me.
Very true. This is an interesting one here. Look. The difference is that we don't have any of the first group and 15 of the second. That's a little bit harsh. I think we've got some that could be world class. I think you're looking at someone like a Tooney. I don't know. Russo. I think there's people that might be getting to that level. They just might not have necessarily kicked it just yet. But yeah, Sang, that's amazing. Lovely to have you here. And yes, you're quite right. The answer does always appear to be Sam Kerr. John, which one are you picking?
Difficult one because, of course you want the desires of certain players, but you also want, quality players as well. And of course, you'd rather have the number two group if they have desire and all that. But I think you can choose you can potentially have a player in your team who, like your Ronaldo's, he perhaps doesn't necessarily have much loyalties to the club. It's mainly to himself, but you'll perform week in and week out with him. So I think it's interesting. You might have someone who's, a bit of a bum hole, for example, but if they're going to create things for you, they're going to score goals for you, do you really mind that? So I think if they're doing a job for you, you go with the first group personally. But I think the desire is of the team is what you go with. So yeah, probably number two if number one done if you desire.
Brilliant. And Andrew?
It's got to be number two for me. Obviously, those players with desire, but it's nice to have thinking maybe a dream signing. If out of that first group, it would probably be Sam Kerr because I'm just thinking. Remember that last game away at Chelsea, and she did change the game for them. I'm just thinking the points during the last season for United could have done a player like that could just maybe have changed the game, got a goal. Or I'm thinking some games like Tottenham away where we drew, or Aston Villa away as well, where we were searching for that goal. It was like a player of that ilk in our side, somebody you could bring on or start, then could, change the game in a heartbeat. But yeah, definitely still have to go with number two. Want those players that are going to give everything on that pitch for us.
Absolutely. I think I think you've only got to look at the two squads. You look at the United men, you look at the United women, and everybody's getting all over the United men at the moment because you've got players who've got world class written all over them, but they're just not performing. And then you look at the women's team, and what are we doing? We're sitting here saying how wonderful they all are because they fight for the shirt. And I just think that gives you, you can walk away from a 5-0 drubbing, having played well, and feel good about it. because you knew they played well. They tried. They weren't just rolled over. And I do think that makes a huge difference. But well done, everyone. We've got a lot to get through today, so we're going to move on slightly. I just want to ask you very quickly about your thoughts on the communication, because it has been mentioned. Is it just that they're slow, or do they really need to improve the communication as a club? And we'll go the other way around. So we'll stick John on first. Why not?
Yeah, it's got to improve. Of course it does. And I think we are in a bit of limbo. We've not heard any news really whatsoever apart from dealing with a couple of players, and that's through media. I think it does have to be better organised. I do think as soon as you get a women's director of football, I do think it will improve. But I think the problem is, I'm fearing this summer might be like some other summers. You get some players in that might not be right quality, but there probably will be seen players like last summer. People complain about the signings we did get, but Arthur Thomas, she had a relatively good season. Ifemaniam was brilliant up until she got injured. And players like that, you do attract good players. It's just about getting to the next level. But yeah, the communication needs to improve. We need to know what's happening with the contracts and all that as soon as possible.
No, absolutely. Andrew?
I was going to say, here is a bit of a tricky one on the communication. I know the same like previous years, like I'm just thinking like reflecting like with the men's side as well, like when we had Ed Woodward in charge and we said lack of communication, nothing was being said to us. And I'm just thinking, now that the changes United made, with Richard Arnold, John Murtough, I think they're just getting on the job behind the scenes. And I just think when they've got something to say or the club's got something to say, they'll announce it. I just feel like, just not with social media, it's like that instant, they want to just know everything now. And I'm like, oh, we're City and Chelsea signing these players, who are United signing? There could be lots of things going on behind the scenes. And obviously, United can't reveal everything because, confidentiality is involved. So it's, yes, a little bit more communication would be nice, but I feel like when United have got something to say, they'll say it. I just think, yeah, it's a fine balance between, we can't be allowed to know everything that's happening, but, they've got to keep some information behind. So it's a bit of a tricky one for me. It's just the way the role of social media plays in that as well, saying like, well, people saying, oh, this player's coming, but United haven't actually announced anything. So it's like, until it comes from the club itself, then unfortunately, patience is the key, I think, over the summer.
But like the contracts, if they're done, absolutely, that's 100% should be being said, shouldn't it? It's that, we've
there might be legal stuff that it needs to just get that final say, and then it's all good to go. It's just like maybe it's just those tiny little things that are just holding up before it can be announced and everything.
Indeed. Answer to this question very quickly. 1st of September is the answer to your question, Arian, that the transfer window ends. So yes, I'm sure they will. Of course, if they make the final in July the 31st, that only gives us a day to purchase them. We're quite good at that. Ellie, communication, what do you think?
I do think it's actually quite poor now, because we've been waiting for days and days, and all I've seen on Twitter is everyone moaning about how we need to get contracts out and everything, because I think everyone's scared that Millie's going or Russo's going, because they've not come out with contract yet. And even I'm a bit panicking now about that, because I thought they would have put it out by now. If
just out of curiosity, when do those out contract? When do their contracts run out?
It's the end of the month, I think.
Yeah, 1 July. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I'm panicking about it, because we've not heard anything yet of Miller. And yeah, I know she's injured at the minute, but we'd love to see if she's going to stay. And then Russo as well. I've heard that she might be going. I'm like, no, she can't. So we really want some answers. And then we want some answers about who's going as well, because there's been a lot of speculation about who's going. Because at first I seen Honor was going to Barca, and now it's not. Now they're not putting money in for her. So it's all on social media. Everything's spurring around like, oh yeah, this is true, she's going, and then you get people saying, no, she's not going. You see what Andrew said. We all have to wait on the actual club announcing it, because
I think that's important because like the Euros start in July, don't they? So we gotta know something before
yeah,
them for some of these players, don't they? Because some of them will be out of contract, won't they?
I think we should bring out the contract renewals first. We need to see if Diane's staying. We don't even know about her, and that's why I'm going on to her later. But we don't know about her if she's staying. We know about Bun, she's gone now, but maybe we need the club to actually confirm that. So they just need to be better, and the communication about injuries as well, because they even said to you on the last show that you don't want players messaging you saying they're injured. You want that coming from the club, not from them.
100%. Good stuff. Well, listen, what an opening half now that's been. We've looked at all of the investment, we've looked at all of the design. Do feel free to whack more in the comments if something hits you that you want to get in there. Trust me, I will get to it. And to prove it, look, here's a comment from what feels like hours ago, right up at the very beginning, but it comes from Charlie. Who's she? Friend of the show, of course. What do the panel think it will take for United to be truly competitive? Well, this is kind of what we're going to go into now. So I kind of want you to touch on that as to what you think it will take for United to be truly competitive. But within that, I'd also like John to introduce his topic for today. Off you go, John.
Yes, thank you very much. So yeah, perfect timing, Charlie. But yeah, basically my topic was in terms of like we touched on that we do have some good players to build on the squad, and what we need to focus on is right. We've established ourselves as the fourth best team in the country. How do we progress now? What positions do we need to build strength up in order to compete with your City and your Chelsea's? And I personally think there's obviously a number of areas I personally think you need a goal scorer, you need competition. If hopefully through so says you want someone to compete with you want someone to compete with, the wingers. I personally also think that you need someone to maybe complement Zelen in the midfield, someone who is a creator. I think with Zelen, obviously, we all think she's a very good player. She's important to the team. I think at times maybe she might be guilty of doing a little bit too much. And I think if you have a really good partner next to her, I think that can change. I think obviously Jackie is a very good player, and that as she really established herself in the team, you can argue maybe not. I think you need strength in that area in particular, and if you do get someone of quality in that area, I think it personally go in place as well as all the others. And I think you'll also need a centre half, and if only goes to right back. So yeah, just a question to everyone: where do you think we need to improve the most?
Okay, well, you're not allowed to say communication, and with that in mind, let's throw it over to Andrew.
I was going to say, I think the key areas, and I think Skinner's highlighted this himself. I think the recruitment will focus on a new striker, and number 10, a winger, a midfield, and a centre back, and that's just to give our squad, more options when it comes to, next season when we're trying to unlock those, stubborn WSL team defences that we've sort of encountered over the last season. So just finding those the same different variants, so in those different situations during game, I think as well. So, and recruitment for Skinner as well is, I think, as said, is a year-round process, because you've got the summer transfer window and then the one in the winter with the January one. So, I think he's looking out there for a good deal as well. Now, like with I think he's been reported to be looking at the Scandinavian, the American market as well. So it's like we got with So obviously, I know Jade Moore came. I think she was in America as well, or came from America. I could be wrong on that one. I'm trying to remember now. And then obviously Diane as well. So I think I remain confident. The players we get in, we're not going to be affected by not having Champions League football. So I think I think if Skinner and the club are selling, as say, the project, where this team's going and what we want to achieve, then by all means, then I think we can get those the players in those areas as well. So it's just obviously we've got the Women's Euros coming up as well, so there might be some players that catch the eye of Skinner and those at the club as well. We could see a player that does really well in the Euros and go, oh, that's one player we want to get into the team that could add that extra bit of quality as well. So yeah, I think those would be the key areas I'd be looking at, as Skinner's have been reported as saying. So it's just like want that added depth into the squad, because a few injuries there last season just maybe, let's say, came at the wrong time. So, and then we were just like, which we couldn't, we didn't really want to have. So, and I don't know whether that just might have had just a slight effect on us getting that top 3 position.
Just before we go to Ellie, do you think if we'd have kept them all fully fit, we'd have just at least finished on the same amount of points as City? In other words, do you think we'd have won that Villa game?
Say hindsight is a wonderful thing. If we'd have, yes, I think we would have. I think we'd have been in more of a pole position. City might have been relying on us, to drop points in the final game, whereas it could have all been in our hands, or we could have, I'm just thinking, if we'd have kept those players fit, we might have been, pushing into maybe into second position as well. But I don't know. It's if buts and maybes. Certain players haven't got injured.
I do think that certain positions we did that, because obviously we know Mannion was having a very good season. A lot of our defence got injured. Hayley Labb was doing very well in midfield with Zeller and Maurice in December, January time, but then there were times because defenders being fit, she had to drop back, so we took her out of the position where she was doing well in. And there were times even Zeller had to play in defence last season as well. And I think it probably did have an impact seeing all these injuries. That's the other thing. You need sound players who you can rely on to. There's always a risk of injury, but you can't sign injury-prone players, in my opinion. You got to buy players you can depend and will be fit for you most of the season, particularly at the most important time of the season, which is in the back, with the games running towards the final day.
I was going to say, just on your point, well, Hayley Ladd, being moved into defence, but even when, if I remember right, Diane was injured for the Old Trafford game, and then I think we had that break, and then Diane was then fit again, and then even though she was fit, Skinner wasn't putting her back in the defence. He kept Hayley Ladd in there, and I'm just like, there's a bit of an interesting one. Why, if Diane was fit, he could have, put her back in, and Hayley Ladd could have moved back into the midfield with Katie Zellum. So, Skinner. Well, he thought what was best at the time, not keeping Hayley Ladd in there, but. As I say, maybe if he'd have changed it around and put Diane back in when she was fit and Hayley Ladd, maybe results maybe have been different. I don't know, but as I say, he's paid to make the decisions. I'm not. Yeah.
No, you're just a soundy likey, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm fair couple.
CJ, I've got to say on there, the good news is this year, mate, they won't need it because obviously it's in the UK, so they will send somebody down there. They might even pay for bed and breakfast. You never know. So that's all good. Ellie, what's your thoughts? Which area of the team? What do we need in order to progress?
Well, I must admit centre backs, because we had so many injuries towards the end of the season, with Millie being out, Mannion being out, and then Diane came in and she was injured. So it really like made us lose the games, I think. So to be honest, I've said this. We should get Rachel Daly in, because she can play 2 different positions. What I've seen for club and country. So she can be at the back for I think it's England, and then at the front for Houston Dash. And she's good in both positions. So I think she'll be a good one, so we can switch her up. Maybe sometimes in the centre backs when we might have players injured again, and then up front sometimes as well, because we do need someone up front again, a new one now, because obviously Brun's gone. So I think we will get a new one. So, and then I think we just need just the centre back and then another forward and another winger. I think. So.
I knew you were joking, my friend. I knew you were joking. I could tell that by the way it's a joking at the end, but thank you. So, listen, John, you're about to tell us what you think. I think for me, if I was picking an area team, defence, 100%. We don't want to be caught out. I don't think we should be in a position where we're having to play two of our midfielders in the centre back situation. You know, you do wonder again if we'd have had a full fit defence, whether or not we concede that last minute goal against West Ham as well. You know, so interesting. I would think we need another defender just to bolster that, and somebody going forward as well. I think would be nice. And as Sang would tell us, is the answer Sam Kerr? Probably somebody like that would be lovely. So, John, what do you think? What area, when you were thinking up the topic, were you thinking was the bit that we needed the most in order to?
Yeah, I think we certainly need another centre half because of our injury track record and all that. Obviously, if Bona goes, we'll definitely need another right back. I think you obviously need a right winger and a goal scorer as well. I think you got a good base there, but it also depends on what players leave and what players stay as well. You know, if Russo ends up going, you're going to have to definitely buy another striker. If you a right winger only, you'll definitely need sign. If Jackie goes, you're definitely going to need another midfielder. So it also depends on what players go and what players stay. That can affect the transfer window as well. So for me, definitely goal scorer, definitely centre half. I will personally want another midfielder, but a midfielder that can really drive the team on. I think Zelen does a good job at collecting the ball, feeding that. But I think it will have a real driver from the midfield to bring piece everything together and that. But those are the positions I will focus mostly on.
And David Dozy. So we've spoken a lot about the people outside of the club that might help to improve us. You've just mentioned Katie Zellerman. Andrew, I know you wanted to mention a little bit about Katie. So why don't you tell everybody what your thoughts were?
Yeah, it's just on how her leadership is which should push United further forward next season. I mean, if you look at the last game of the season away at Chelsea, you could see, Zelen recognising the significance of us going to with a fighting chance against the eventual champions in Chelsea. So as she said, going in at 2-1 at half time, I think we couldn't have asked for more. And you could, as she said, I could see glimpses of that performance that we are going to be a team to be reckoned with next season. So, and there's more positives to build on. And obviously, we have, she's played a pivotal part in, in that revival last season as well, because it sort of didn't, the way it started, we had that 6-1 defeat at home to Chelsea, and then the saves. I think the players were getting used to Skinner and his, his ways and how he wanted them playing. I think it was they were trying to work out what exactly he wanted, and I think Zelen, you can see, I don't know if she was struggling a bit in the first instance, and obviously she's trying to get that over to her teammates as well. But then I think it was after November that, we just sort of hit the ground running. And obviously since December, she hit 4 goals and 3 assists as well. So, and obviously being a United fan as well, and she's also competed on the Champions League stage as well. But she knows also there's patience required, and we still need some time to be at the level of our rivals. And as she said, those other 3 teams have taken years to get into those positions. So, and also it's what she brings onto the pitch as well. It's I think the play runs through her, and I think it's the simplicity in her game that makes her so dangerous to like the opposition as well. It's like she'll connect the midfield to the attack as well, and I think it's just her intelligence as well to know where her teammates are as well. So if she's dispossessing the opposition or when she's trying to play a pass through to a teammate as well, and also controlling the tempo of the game as well. And also, as well, the leadership qualities that she's definitely shown, last season and before that as well. She's one of the most influential players, and she's forming the core part of this team, and building that spine as well. I think if United could get, if Millie Turner and Eva Manny can stay fit, or if you have to buy in a strong central defender, then the rest of the team can just grow around Zelem, and then we can become a title winning side with, a few more additions. So I think without her in the side, I think we just look a totally different proposition. And I think when she's not in the side, we just lose that intelligent passing and her progressive runs as well. So, but most of all, her leadership. And I think last season there was a bit of criticism, some of it unduly unfair on her, and just thinking. There's times when players go through bad form, and she found it again, and she hit the ground running in that in that second half of the season. So yeah, I think she's going to be quite a key player and next season for us as well, and hopefully striving us to success, whether that's with a cup run or even possibly getting us to into the Champions League places, or even maybe getting challenging for the title.
Go. Aspiration and desire. That's what we've got here from Andrew Wall. It's Ellie, Katie Zelem. We spent a lot of time. She had her own show where we spoke about all of the positives that Katie Zelem brings, but we didn't necessarily talk about what Katie can bring as we move into the new season. So, what's your thoughts? How important to this team do you think Katie Zelem is? And does she retain her place for definite next season if we get somebody else in?
Well, I think her leadership's been really good this season. The leadership within the team, she went in defence for a game, and that's her usual spot. She just decided to, because obviously we had no centre backs really because we was all injured. So it was her choice to do that for the team. So I just think her leadership for the team and what she wants from them all, like that massive game against Chelsea. Yeah. Like they said, she was happy enough to go back in the changing rooms at half time with 2-1. She thought, oh yeah, we have a chance here against the really big champions here. So I bet she went in. She motivated them all to try and do well, come out the second half. But obviously that didn't work out. But she just brings quality as well, and good partnership with all the girls. And if someone else comes in for next season, and I don't think she'll be dropped, because she's such a good leader and such a good captain for the team. And I actually wouldn't want anyone else to be captain other than her, because she just brings something totally different to the team. I think it's mostly a leadership for me for the team, and she has positivity as well all the time, even when we lose games, and that's what we want. We don't want someone always being like sad or something every time we lose. She just brings a positive out of the negative. That's what Katie does, I think. So
fair point. I think, John, we spoke a lot, like I said, about Katie Zelem in that show, and we spoke about how well she had led the team, but we spoke about what a leader is. And I seem to remember there was someone, I can't remember who, but it may have been me, who said that actually a leader is somebody who people want to follow. You're not going to follow somebody who you don't feel can lead you. Do you feel like this team follows Katie Zelem, respects her as a leader, and do you think that she can inspire? Let's say we did get someone, seeing as how people want to go, top tier thinking, a Kerr, a Miedemar, a world-class player like that, do you think that she would command that same respect from them?
Yes, I do. I think that she's I think it's clear to see that she is respected by her teammates and all that. We use, for example, the men's team, maybe the squad don't respect Maguire really, but when you think of the women's team, I do think they do respect Zell as the captain. I think a leader, to me, a leader can be many things. Like for me, it's leading by example and making the team tick. And for me, there's no argument that in my opinion, that Zelen is, along with Tuni, is our most important player. If she's not playing, the team doesn't tick. There was also back in yesterday about Paddy Crary, when he plays well, United play well. I think it applies to Zelen. When she plays well, United play well. If she doesn't have the best game, I don't think United play well, and I just think that it's essential. Obviously, I think it's some games she might need to improve a little bit. A lot of people speaking the bigger games, maybe she doesn't play as well as she does in, against smaller teams. I do think she might need to improve a little bit in that area, but for me, no argument for me that I do think she's respected by all the players. We're not even touching on the set piece delivery. It's one of the best in the league, if not the best. The number of goals she's responsible for from set pieces is sensational, and for that alone, you'd have her in the team. In my opinion. But yeah, I do think she will go from strength to strength. She's been here for a couple of years now, and I do think, given time, she will establish herself more and more into the team as the team progresses. And I think anyone who comes into the team will respect her for what she does.
So just to add on John's point, I just think Zellem, she has shown. Said determination to say we'll not rest until we get silverware is achieved. And obviously, Zellem and Skinner are well aware, as we said earlier, the club's in its infancy. We're only 4 years old, and we've been playing catch up, with those more experiences, those teams around us. And I think the calm leadership will be crucial if we are going to be regularly competing with the likes of Chelsea, City, and Arsenal. And obviously, the feeling around the United women's team is optimistic at the moment. Obviously, we had that great game at Old Trafford where we beat Everton as well, which will be long remembered, and in which Zellem played a key part in that one as well. And I think step by step, we are getting closer to the top of the WSL. So, and if we do, overtake those big three clubs in front of us, then I think we'll owe a bit of some gratitude to our captain, Katie Zellem, for it.
Absolutely. We had that word again. I've been caught out again. That's the issue. Bring the right people in and she'll resign. No, we don't want her to resign. Oh, no, hold on. Resign. Absolutely. And I think that she will. But we've had things here. This is risky. We might lose her. Paris FC qualified for Champions League and they are looking for players. Listen, I don't think any of us think that Kate is going to go anywhere. She bleeds red. Not just because that is the colour of blood, but because that is Manchester United in her heart. So I really don't think we need to worry too much about that. And I am sure, 100% sure, that we will still be seeing Katie Zellem next year purely because of what Andrew just said, how she's determined to do well with this group of players. And, we've just picked her up as a leader. So I can't see her for 1 minute abandoning those responsibilities. So I'm sure that KZ will be there. But another player that we wanted to talk about is the one that Ellie was desperate to have a little conversation about. So, Ellie, can you introduce your topic, please?
Well, mine's just on about Diane Caldwell because I don't think we've heard that much of her. Obviously, she came in and then she got injured and she couldn't play at Old Trafford. But I just want to know whether you think she'll be a massive part of next season if the Million Man United still injured, because I've heard that they don't want to rush them back straight into the new season. So I think it'll be kind of stupid to let her go now, because it's either if we get someone like better than her in, then obviously I can think she'll go. But if not, just keep her because we don't know the situation with them two yet. And that as well, I just think she needs to stay to play at Old Trafford because she was injured for the Old Trafford game, and she's a United fan. She's been a United fan since she was a kid. So I think she can bring in so much for next season if she does stay. So I just wanted your opinion on it.
Well, controversial. So you've got TJ sat here saying Diane is a perfectly fine player for us, along with Katie Zellum, of course. Doesn't see a need to drop either unless you have a significant upgrade signing. But on the other side, in the red corner, Nanzel, controversial, but I would let Diane go. Brilliant person, but I would. And the problem that we've got here is, I suppose you've gone there a little bit, to do with sentimentality and the situation that they're in. Would we say that Diane would be, if all of our defenders are fit, all of them are fit, and we're picking our starting 11, I suppose the question here, Andrew and John, does Diane Caldwell fill one of those first two spots?
No.
That's the first question. So John says no. Andrew?
I agree with John. It would be no. If every defender was fit, she would not.
So which two are we putting in the middle?
For me, Mannion and Turner, if they're both fit.
They're the same as well. If them two are fit, then Diane, yeah.
And then Maria is the first backup.
See, I'd have Diane as the first backup. I say I like Maria as well, but I'm like, it's good to have choices. That's what we want in the squad. That squad depth is like.
That's really important there, what you just said, though, because that's where the debate then comes in. It's does Diane come in as the first backup or the second backup? Is she a Conti Cup player? Ellie, who would your starting defenders be? Does Diane go straight to start your defence, or would you agree with the lads on this one?
I would actually agree with the lads on this one because Millie and Manu had such a good first half of the season, I must admit. But then the injuries just made them lose out on the game time. Because Manu played an excellent first half of the season, I must admit, and then obviously injuries took part. So as well, Maria's good as well, so it's a difficult one. But obviously, my first choice at the back would be Diane if they're injured, and then it would be Maria. That's just my choice.
So there you go. We've got loads of them. Marty, hello. All of your comments and everything that was brought in yesterday, it kicked off this entire show. So thank you. Do get in the comments and tell us more about what you're thinking. And I do have to say as well, sorry, Ellie, just got to throw this one out just very quickly, just in case. Not taking a mickey at all. This is more about my reading skills than anything else. I always read the word as resign first. It's very much dig at myself. Absolutely nobody else. That's my disability, not reading properly because I'm going too quick. All right. So, go on, Ellie. What was you going to say?
I just said, but mostly, I'd love to see her in next season to play at Old Trafford. She didn't last season, and she's a diehard United fan, isn't she? So I just love her to play at Old Trafford as well.
There you go. Listen, there's lots of conversation going in there. TJ's put Turner Mannion top two as well. He's put Ladd and Thor as the second pair, though. So he's sticking Diane behind even Hayley Ladd, which is, well, I mean, that's a shocker. I did not see that one coming at all. That has blown my mind ever so slightly. Ladd did brilliantly in defence. Let's not sit here for a second and say that she didn't, because she absolutely did. But that is some compliment for Hayley Ladd that actually she's being spoken about in that bracket. So, yeah, that is something. I think the problem that we got with Diane is that we know it was only a short-term deal. So I suppose really we'll just quickly round the table. Andrew, would you offer a new contract? Yes or no?
Yes, and I'd offer another season at United.
John?
No.
Oh, Ellie?
I will for replacement.
Yeah, of course I would.
Of course, we know how much you love Diane. She's one of your faves. You know, I think I'm a sucker for a bit of sentimentality myself, and I think I would quite possibly. Yeah, I think I would. At the moment, unless, going back to that original bit that was said, unless we've got an upgrade ready to go, then 100% I think you sign her, because let's be honest, she completely ticks all of my boxes. You know, she's got the desire. She's already here. She will fight for that shirt. And I mean, my goodness, she fights. So super duper. Right, listen, guys, we are already at the hour, and we still had a couple of little bits to go. But thankfully, we have managed to go around everybody's topic, and we've managed to mention all of those things. So that's really good. So we're just going to spend a couple of minutes on the breaking news that came out yesterday. I call it breaking news because I still don't see it fully verified either by the Manchester United channel or indeed by Atletico. But Lucia Garcia was obviously a player that was mentioned not too long ago. In fact, back in May, I think it was, that she was being mentioned as a possible player that we would purchase. Massive question for you all then. Number one, do you know anything about Lucia Garcia? And number two, is this the sort of signing that we would want? And number three, does that count as investment?
Oh, so I'll go.
Thank you, Andrew.
I'll go first. I was like,
you're not ready to go there, Andrew.
So not knowing too much about it. I'm just reading from what I've read reports about. Obviously, nothing's officially been announced from United as yet, but I think she definitely would come in and add that extra bit of quality, especially on the wings. I think that's maybe where we might have just lacked a bit last season. Obviously, we've had Leah Galton, Kirsty Hansen, they're the established wingers of the team, but then we've had like Martha Thomas and Ella Toon and even Russo as well going out on the wings, so it won't becoming makeshift wingers. But I feel like that's not going to be sustainable in the long run for those players. So they need to be playing further forward. But for Garcia, I think she can either play on the wing, and she can show that initiative to cut inside and attempt shot at goals, which definitely could benefit our current system as well. And also she can drop deeper as well into the midfield. So when we need to move the ball around a bit more quicker as well. And from what else I've read about, I know she's won the UEFA European Championships for Spain in the under-17s and under-19s category as well. So I think she's current team's Atletico Bilbao as well. So I say, that's as much as I know about Garcia at the moment. So obviously, if she's playing at the Euros this summer, then I'll be looking out for her and seeing how well she does as well.
John, can you tell us your thoughts and also respond to what Lanzel's put here? Because if we're getting Garcia or Galton, which, we've had the M&M discussion about Millie and Mannion, and we all love M&Ms. What are we going to do with this one here? Galton or Garcia?
Yeah, I mean, like Andrew, I've not really seen a lot of the play. When we were, some Swiss rumours that we're with her a few weeks ago. I do look at some of the stats for Bilbao a few weeks ago, and they didn't look impressive. She does get a few goals, she gets a few assists and that, and I think that's a good thing. As the comments said before, that Spanish players do tend to be quite technical on the ball, usually very possession based, and I think, I've not seen much of play. Obviously, we'll see a bit in Euros, but based on the lads, my gut instinct is it's maybe the type of player which we might look at, but obviously I want to see more of her, and hopefully if she does well and she comes to us, then hopefully she will have competition to Galton and that. So, I think it's certainly one to look out for, I think.
Brilliant. And Ellie, what's your thoughts on Lucia Garcia?
Well, I don't really know her because not yet anyway, but I think I'll be keeping an eye on her in the Euros when Spain are playing because, maybe she'll be a good signing for us, but I think we still need someone bigger than that because I think Mark said he wanted a really, really good signing or a super signing.
What do you mean, like 6'1", 6'2"?
Do you know, like a super signing, like, so I think someone is good or something. I think that's what I heard him say, so I don't think she'll be that. I think we'll go for someone else bigger than that, I suppose. But I think, what you've all said, she'll be maybe a good signing. So, I mean, I think I'll just watch out for her in the Euros and see what she's really like.
Well, she sounds like she's got some pretty good stats, as Lanzel mentioned just a minute ago. So she played for Moderno between 2013 and 2016. She scored 19 goals out of 63 appearances. She's played for Athletic Bilbao since 2016 and has got 45 goals out of 114 games. She scored goals at all level for the Spanish teams. 6 in 8 for the under-17s, 17 in 16 for the under-19s, 4 in 6 for the under-20s, and 6 in 30. So she clearly knows whereabouts the goal is.
That's average a goal every 2.5 games. That's not bad for a winger, is it?
It's pretty good. But what I would say is that one for Athletic is 45, and 114. So every 2.5 games is not too bad at all. But that's since 2016. So she sounds good. Sounds like she's a good player.
I think it also demonstrates that we have said we do need to score more goals as well. So if she's the type of player who can score that like 10 goals in a season as a winger, then you potentially go places, I think, as well.
There you go. And here we go. Rashizi, I hope I've said that right. She says Garcia is rapid, brilliant. 1v1. She can still improve her finishing, but she'll open a lot of defences for you. And that could be great because, as we discussed last night, if we do end up getting Leon, she's really good at getting past the defence and getting into positions. So presumably, if we wanted to go for an Ant and Deck, we're on the ball type song, you could have Garcia. Somebody's got to pass to Garcia. So we can have Caldwell to Garcia, Garcia out wide to Leon, Leon to Russo. It's a goal. Who knows? We're on the ball. Let's hope Skinner and the rest of the United board are too. So listen, we're virtually out of time, but I would like us to have a little bit of Euro fun in some way. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you for 3 predictions. Prediction number 1. Who do you think is going to win the Women's European Championship next month? Guys in the comments, please feel free to answer these questions too. So who's going to win it? Number 2, where are England going to get to? Final, semi-final, quarter-final, group stage? Where do you think we're going to be? And the 3rd one, who's the player to look out for? All right, so we'll kick off first of all with who's going to win. So Ellie, we're going to start with you. Who's going to win?
Oh, it's a tough one, but I'm going to have to say my own country, England, but it's under there's Netherlands, Spain and Sweden, I think, with Blackstenius, and obviously Netherlands with Jackie and Viv the goat, so it's between them, I think. But obviously I'll have to say my own country, so I think England.
Oh, look at this for a shout. Sweden, Germany, France. John?
Top 3, I would go with I'll go with Spain favourites. I think you might have to put England in there being the host, and I don't think we'll win it, but I think being the host, they tend to do well. I'll go with the Netherlands.
Very nice. Hedging his bets a bit. Andrew, what do you think of this one? Ian Lee's gone Norway. There's no way that's happening, surely. No way at all.
Well, so you can't rule any team out. You can't rule any team out from winning the Euros, but I'm going to go with, like Ellie says, I've got to back England all the way to go to win it. But I say you can't rule out teams such as Germany or France as well. So there'll be ones to watch as well. Amongst, as like John said, Netherlands, and it's been Sweden mentioned, but yeah, Germany and France, let's say, and Spain too, of course. But I don't know, maybe it might be an England-Spain final, or maybe a England-Germany final. So you never know. So, but yeah, you never know. So it's going to be an interesting watch the Euros are and seeing which teams progress as well.
Very
So
much
what
so.
it might be if one of our key players, not necessarily our not just with our England sides, if one of our players or some of our players actually wins this on, even if it's not England, what will that do for the squad? They'll come into the new season with confidence, know that they're a winner. And you having winners in your team can be important, well, even if it's at international level.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, TJ. I think it's what got me the job. So until I'm told otherwise, people are just going to have to load the gun and I'll fire it. Because it's certainly not for my dashing good looks, that's for sure. Okay.
I can't believe you said no way.
So the second one then, where are we going to? The comment section is all about the semis. Does anyone think we can go the whole way, Ellie?
I do, yeah, because come on, it's home. It's in our home UK home, like UK stadium's home. So I think we can. But I'm just not jinxing myself. I'm really not, because sometimes when I jinx myself, it always goes the wrong way. Even with United, it does. So of course I want us to be in the final. So I think it'll be a final against Germany or even Netherlands. I think so. Final it is.
Pretty good. John, where are we getting to?
I'm going semi-finals.
I was going to say, I think they'll reach the. I think they'll do like the men's side. I think they'll reach the finals, and I want to go. It's either going to be against Spain or Germany. Depends which one of those get through.
Brilliant. And there are loads of players there. Nice and quick, Ellie. Who are you looking forward to seeing the most?
Two, maybe. I would say Jackie. Do you know what? All of our United players, basically. Looking forward to seeing more.
Brilliant. John?
Russo if she signs, if not Tuni.
All the time standing on top there. Russo's my favourite player. I love her, but if she doesn't sign, then she is no longer my favourite.
No, I look forward to all the. I look forward to go outside of England. I look forward to seeing Russo.
Brilliant. And Andrew?
For me, definitely, watching out for Mary Earps, so one of my favourite players. Also, I think Ella Toon's probably going to have a good Euro, so we see her influence on that England squad. Also, Russo as well. I just think she's the one to replace Ellen White in that attack. So I just think I want to see her, scoring lots of goals in the Euros. I think for players that are playing for other teams, it's nice to see how Anna gets on as well. So fingers crossed she's going to stay one more season with us at least, and then as Ellie said, well, looking out for all our players and hoping they do well.
Absolutely. Here's one. I want to see Jackie score at LSV. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
we all do. We're living for that.
We're on the pitch.
There'll be about 7 United fans running on the pitch at that point.
Right, Ian, so we should have a new channel. If Jackie signs, we're on the pitch.
Well,
Yeah.
Now, I do have to say, I was thinking, which player did I really want to see? And I actually thought the exact same thing as this chap here. And it did then take me a minute just to realise that she's Australian. And so there's not really much chance of seeing Sam Kerr at the European Championships. I blame Eurovision, because we seem to think they are in Europe and they are genuinely not. So, but I would love to see Sam Kerr in the Euros. We'll have to wait for the World Cup for that one. And also on that particular point, Marcus, you've also managed to put this. And I'd just like to confirm the lights are not off for that reason at all. I'm in the middle of moving house, and this was the only room, I'm afraid, that was private. It was the conservatory, and the sun was facing that way. It was either that or you saw the dark room behind. So it wasn't great. But I can confirm, if you go into other videos starring me, I still look just as bad. So you're probably more grateful, actually, that the lights are off today. So if I were you lot, I'd be very, very pleased with that. For me, I'm saying England. I think it's coming home. And speaking of home, Ding, ding, ding. Time, gentlemen, please. Haven't you all got homes to be going to? My goodness, what a chat it has been. I haven't seen the viewing figures drop below 10 since they went above 10. So you guys have been superb. The chat has been absolutely lit. I'm so sorry if I didn't manage to get any of your stuff up there that you've thrown out there, but you guys have helped make the show. You literally give us what we need in order to continue what we're talking about. So thank you so much for getting involved. It quite literally helps to make the show. Otherwise, it's just 4 people sat in a darkened room on a Friday evening with no alcohol. And let's be honest, that's sad.
So you can tune in at night. You can tune in at 9 o'clock on Both United Men's Show, where I will have a drink in my hand.
There you go. Not after he's had a couple of sips of his finest ale, you know where to go. Same channel, but without the WFC. Guys, you've been brilliant. Andrew, thank you so much for jumping on and giving us all of your insight. John as well, thank you. And I really do hope people do get on to watch you. Ellie, it's a pleasure as ever. It's always great to have passionate people on this channel. Thank you again in the comments. Do make sure you're watching All for United. I have no idea. I'm not John and I'm not Connor, so I couldn't possibly tell you what's coming up, but there will probably be a show on Monday. I am on that show, I would imagine, because I've been told that I am. What are we talking about? I don't know. I'll find out Monday morning probably, and then I will formulate some stuff to tell you that may or may not be relevant. Maybe I'll start another fight.
There might be a Benny and Matt show tomorrow night. There might be. Not
there we go. There might be one of those. But what there definitely will be is another fans forum next week, and yours truly will be hosting that one. So I really look forward to seeing you. I say it every week. Have we made a difference? Maybe not. But I'll tell you what we have done, guys. We had a superb time. So thank you so much for being here, and I cannot wait until we're back again. Take care, everybody.